afternoon, televiewers and lovers of this program Experts. This is another edition. Many are Cameroonians who always answered, I am fine, when you ask them this question, how are you? Even though they might be socially, mentally, and psychologically disabled. In Cameroon today, you find people on the streets talking alone. Others spend their money uselessly, while some will run away from their paternal responsibilities or maternal responsibilities, roaming the streets. We don't know if they are mentally deranged or they are stable in their health. Dr. Samuel Agwe is the right person to tell us more about this. He is a specialist in mental health, coming right away from Douala. Before I introduce him, viewers of 7 News Television, we apologize for this late start. As you know, man proposes, but God disposes. Dr. Agwe Samuel is a mental health specialist. Good afternoon, doctor.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
So, who is Dr. Agwe Samuel?
Thank you. Already rightly stated that I'm a mental health specialist. I'm a Cameroonian by nationality, and I started my studies in Cameroon, in Bamenda, before I went to Nigeria, where I did my first degree in medicines. And from there, I went to the University of Edinburgh, where I specialized in mental health and worked in London for the past 10 years. I came back and I'm working in the Southwest region, and I'm piloting studies and work mental health in the Southwest region at the Regional Education of Public Health.
We are talking about mental health. What is mental health?
Yeah, thank you. It's a very good question you've asked, because quite often a lot of people in society don't know what mental health is.
Okay.
Mental health is a branch of medicines. It's a group of diseases that affect the mind, which means that you cannot feel it and you can't touch it. And quite often a lot of people who have mental health will go to hospital and they say, "Doctor, I'm not feeling well." And the doctor will ask, "What is the problem?" And you see, often you say, "I didn't have a good sleep last night, or I've not had a good sleep for the last 2-3 weeks." The doctor said, "That is not a problem. Go back home." "Oh, don't worry, we're going to do a few tests for you." They go do malaria tests, typhoid, and they don't find anything. And the patient goes back home with the same mental health that he came to hospital with, which is depression. So it's a branch of medicine that we really need to take some time to focus and educate the public, educate even the medical personnel, educate traditional doctors and religious leaders, that we can come together and we tackle this problem of mental health. It's a big problem in Cameroon.
We are talking today about mental health solution. Okay. What are the mental illnesses that you can tell us today?
Thank you very much. I think I just started by mentioning one.
Depression.
Depression, yes. Depression is the most missed mental illness we can talk of. In fact, it's the most missed medical problem you can talk of.
Yeah.
Because less than 5% of people with depression are diagnosed in hospitals. So it's a big problem. We're talking about people with mood disorders, bipolar affective disorder. You find somebody who receives his salary and within 2 days he's finished it all. He spends regularly on things that he should not have, just to go borrowing for the rest of the month. We're talking of people with a lot of substance abuse. We're talking here of things like tramadol that children have embarked into. We're talking of marijuana, banga. We're talking of cocaine. We're talking of heroin. And the elephant in the house, alcohol. A lot of Cameroonians have problems with alcohol. It is a problem. We're talking here of schizophrenia. Schizophrenia, what we would normally call madness. A lot of people think that schizophrenia is a spiritual problem. It's witchcraft, it's superstition. They don't believe that it's a medical problem. They don't know of thinking that it can be treated. Schizophrenia is a medical problem that is caused by changes in chemicals in the brain, and we have treated a lot. I've treated about 1,000 of them in Cameroon, and I've treated more than 10,000 in England. And of recent, we're beginning to see a lot of older age persons coming in with dementia. People forget. They are extremely forgetful. They even forget their names. They forget the names of their relatives, their loved ones, their bank accounts, where they stay. It's unbelievable. dementia is increasingly becoming a problem for us here. So you see that it's just wider than we ever think.
You are talking about depression, the first one. What can really be the cause of depression?
Yeah, thank you very much. Let us first of all look at the symptoms of depression. What exactly are the symptoms of depression?
Okay.
The first symptom is that somebody starts having difficulties with sleep. He or she doesn't sleep well.
Mm-hmm.
You go to bed, probably get 1-2 hours of sleep, and gets up, move around, get another 1-2 hours. Probably the whole night he or she has not slept for 4 hours.
Okay.
And you would think that it's just going to go away. It doesn't. Eventually you see that it increases with other symptoms. You start finding people losing weight. Some people can actually gain weight. People just have lots of interest in things that they would normally like doing. Somebody who wants to watch football can imagine that Manchester United is playing Chelsea and you are a Chelsea supporter and it doesn't mean anything to you. Or people who are watching these Nigerian movies and suddenly you are not interested in Big Brother. So you start asking what's going on here. You're just getting withdrawn and you are not interested in things. Others, you start saying that they don't want to eat, or they start losing appetite, or have poor appetite. Others, they don't even bathe. I mean, they just stay indoors and they don't feel like doing anything. These are all warning signs of depression. And if we don't do anything, that low mood will persist, and some start cutting their hands. We call it self-harm. Most white people, you see them, they take blades or sharps and start cutting their hands. And if you still don't treat that, you actually have people having suicidal ideas, wanting to kill themselves, and a lot have done so. Unfortunately, when they kill themselves, people say that it is witchcraft, or a family member has killed that person. The person has actually died because of severe depression. Yes, it's a big problem here, and we really need to start talking to the public about it.
So what really causes this depression? Can poverty or unemployment be the cause of?
Of course, the depression, one would say, but you are bound to be depressed at some point in life. I mean, there is no way that everything will go well your side. If you have the symptoms I've mentioned persistently for 2 weeks, you need to consult a doctor. If you have it with suicidal ideations, you just have to go see the doctor immediately. But what are some of the common causes of depression that we have in our society? Stress from all sorts of sources. Stress because you've lost your job. You have a family of 2, 3, you're in Yaoundé here, you have to pay your rent, your landlord is on your head, the children are in school, you can't feed the family, your wife is on your head. So stress is a big problem.
Okay.
So those who don't have a source of income, or who have lost a source of income, it's a big problem for them. Others, we have social problems.
Okay.
Some have relationship problems, they can't cope with it, so they fall into depression. Others, the social problems like those in the northwest or southwest. You see people actually sleeping
in the forest.
In the forest, yes, in bushes. People have lost everything that they have. Houses are raised down. There is uncertainty everywhere. You can't go about your normal life. You can imagine how you eventually turn your life. You can't believe what you're going through. So it is bound to come with all sorts of problems. So the current crisis in the northwest and southwest is actually a major source of depression for those living around there. And of course, alcohol.
Alcohol.
A lot of people take alcohol to say, let me calm down my troubles. Let me take one man and calm down my trouble.
Yeah.
But the trouble with alcohol is that it comes and calms down your trouble for that moment, only to come back with even more depression. So the commonest cause of depression we even have here is alcohol.
It's alcohol.
Yes, it's a major depressive agent that we have.
Okay. So you're talking of mental health. Is there a way to treat some of these cases, especially a person who is undergoing depression? Yeah,
the first thing with depression has 3 forms. There's the mild form of depression which lasts for about 2 weeks up to 6 weeks. If you experience that mild form of depression, the treatment is talking therapy, somebody to talk to. You need a clinical counselor to talk to. Somebody that can actually sit down with you and understand your stressors, identify your stressors, and see how they can address it. If there are relationship problems, they can call the other partners. If there are financial problems, they can see how they can go about it. We don't have social security here. In Europe and America, they will provide some social security for those who lose their jobs or source of income. But here, family come together and we have talking therapy.
Okay. That
doesn't need medication. But if that persists to moderate depression, which lasts from about 6 weeks to 6 months, then you begin to take antidepressants. There are a wide range of antidepressants out there that we use and that we give out readily. But if you are having the severe depression, which is the one that you begin to want to kill yourself, that thought of wanting to kill yourself, you have to be admitted to hospital.
That's when you have to start playing music, let me die, let me die. Immediately you get the music, you say, okay, I have to die now.
So you have to be admitted to hospital. So we really hope that we don't get to the stage where somebody wants to kill themselves because this person has gone to hospital. It's not even that they didn't go to hospital. They went to hospital. They presented to the hospital that they are not feeling well and that they are not even sleeping. And the medical personnel, the nurses and doctors did not pick it up. They did not diagnose depression. And the patient went back home to go commit suicide. So it's a warning shot for all of us, family members, the society, and especially the medics.
Are you trying to make us understand that if somebody doesn't sleep for 1 week, 2 weeks, he should start taking that seriously?
I think that it is something that you need to consider. You should need to go consult with a medical doctor and really tell them that they shouldn't take it for granted. Because you probably will meet somebody, especially the young doctors, that will tell you that it's not a problem. You cannot keep looking for malaria and typhoid. It is not. That is not the only reason why people come to hospital.
That's true.
There are other reasons why people come to hospital, and we should begin to widen our scope. So the message out there is that if you are having problem with sleep, if somebody notices that you are not sleeping well, if somebody notices that you are having a low mood, you are withdrawn, you are not doing the things that you used to do, consult a doctor. And when you meet with a doctor, tell the doctor that they should take your sleep problem quite seriously. And for the medics, they should try to always ask their patients, how is your sleep? You will be amazed. It's like opening a black box.
Okay.
Somebody will tell you that I've not slept for 3 months. I've not slept for 2 months. I've not slept for 6 months. That is somebody who has come in with depressive illness. That is not even telling you, but you have to elicit it and you try to help the patients out.
We are talking about depression. What really is clinical depression?
What I just explained is clinical depression, which means these are the signs and symptoms. Yes, the signs, the symptoms. Yes, symptoms are what the patient tells you that I'm not sleeping, or I can't sleep, I'm having problem with low mood, I'm always withdrawn. These are the symptoms. This is what the patient is telling you.
Okay.
Symptoms, signs are what you as a doctor or nurse elicit. Yeah. So if you now examine and you find some more information, you can add to it.
You are a mental health specialist.
That's right.
How long can one go for training to become a mental health specialist? Is it everybody that goes for that training? Can be so let's just get up to the others, I want to be a mental health specialist?
No. You see, it's a team. First of all, the team, the way that mental health specialists work, they don't just work alone.
All right.
There is a team that is put in place, and if we're to practice what is practiced in England or America, it would be headed by a medical doctor who is actually specialized in mental health. It's a psychiatrist or mental health specialist, whichever name you use. Then there will be a nurse. There are nurses, psychiatric nurses, who also work with the doctor. But also we have, like I just mentioned, clinical counselors. Counseling services are also very important in this service. We need liaison officers, social workers. So it is a team that works around the problems of mental health. The problem we have in Cameroon is that philosophy of treating patients has not been properly adopted. We seem to wait for the patients to come meet us in La Cantine or Santo Jamon before we treat them. No, these patients, these are guys who think that they don't have a problem. So how are they going to come over to meet you in your hospital? A lot of these patients are in the communities.
That's true.
We need to move to the communities and see them there. And that's what we're doing in the Southwest. We are seeing a lot of patients in the community that would have never gone to hospital.
You were talking of treating over 1,000 patients.
That's right. Last year
alone.
Yes.
Last year alone.
So
how do you go about it? Do you give them malaria? Do you give them sleeptomycin, wake-up-mycin, all those mycins.
Well, we have not finished with the forms of mental illness. We've spoken about
depression.
Yeah. Let's take another one that is quite common. We talked about substance abuse.
What?
Substances. Those who abuse
substances.
Drugs.
Okay.
Yes, drugs. We're talking about cocaine.
All right.
Before I came from England to Cameroon, I would have thought that cocaine is not cheap and it's not easy to get. It's not available, but it's not the case. It's more available and than I thought. So there's quite some stuff, crack and adulterated cocaine out there that guys are using. There's heroin, but the elephant in the house there is marijuana. What we call banga, the wheat. What we call the wheat. Yeah. And of recently, these children, these students, primary school or secondary school and university students, they have suddenly, together with the bikers, enter into this tramadol thing. I have no idea where they got this tramadol stuff, and it has overtaken every other person.
It has taken every other person.
Tramadol is a big problem in Cameroon. It is in our youth. If you were to ask me what is the single overriding problem that our youths have today, it's tramadol, because it runs in peer groups. My friend takes it to get high. I also want to take it to get high.
Yeah.
My friend takes it because they want to get energy to drive a bike all through the day. I also want to do so. My friend takes it because they have been asked to, or because they want to be sexually more active, and it just cuts across everybody. And the drug is so available on the streets everywhere. You get tramadol, but what they have refused or what they have not been told are the consequences. Yes, the consequences of taking tramadol. Because tramadol does two things. It goes to the brain cells and changes the chemicals of the brain and makes you to go mental, to go mad.
Wow.
But at the same time, it also goes to your heart and chokes the chambers of the heart, because it wants to make you have a lot of energy within a short period of time. It squeezes the blood vessels and the chambers of the heart and does not allow enough time for the chambers to relax and refill, so that it can have time and pump blood to the rest of the body. So it squeezes the blood vessels, it releases, it squeezes again without allowing the heart to rest. And eventually you have cardiac arrest. And a lot of children, I think this year I've had 3 cases of 17-year-old, 20-year-old, and I think the other one was 22 or 24 who took tramadol overdose and they collapsed and they died.
Wow.
So it's something that parents should take very seriously. And you need to start getting the signs of tramadol. When you have a child that used to be very humble and is at home, you come back from work, the child is no more at home. The child is with friends. The child goes to have a haircut and start keeping beards. You talk to the child will look at you. Sometimes the child starts responding. The performance at school starts dropping. And then the child starts becoming wayward. These are the signs of tramadol. And as if that is not enough, a child that will not pick, you keep 5, 10, 20,000 francs on the table in the house, it will be there forever. You send this child to go and pay electricity bill, he goes and cuts 2,000, 3,000.
At times he doesn't pay the money.
At times he doesn't pay.
Yeah.
Or you ask that you go and pay your rent for your own accommodation in school. He cuts the money, or it takes that, and then the landlord has to start calling you.
The father,
to start calling the father, because they've known this child to pay his bills or pay his rent, and then the landlord starts asking you about what's going on here, what is happening, have you not sent the rents, and then the landlord
you start getting confused.
Yeah, he's asking that, but this child taking this rent 200,000-300,000 francs, what has he done with the money? And then they start selling household equipment, start selling laptops and clothes and things like that. It's a big problem.
Okay, Dr. Samuel, let's just follow this report made by one of our reporters, Thomas.
Le 22e conseil de direction des écoles de formation des professionnels infirmiers, sages-femmes et médico-sanitaires s'est ouvert ce 11 avril 2018 dans la capitale politique camerounaise Yaoundé. Les travaux qui ont pour cadre le palais de congrès permettront aux professionnels sanitaires d'élaguer les problèmes rencontrés dans l'exercice de cette fonction au pays de Paul Biya.
L'infirmier, ceux-là qui ne se valorisent pas, qui ne se valorisaient pas assez. Mais depuis un certain temps, des efforts sont en train d'être faits pour la valorisation de ce corps, non seulement par les infirmiers eux-mêmes, mais également par le commun des mortels. Parce que l'infirmier désormais devait être vu comme une personne qui a suivi une formation de base et qui est habilité à administrer les soins infirmiers et dont il a un profil de carrière assez conséquent. Il ne faudrait pas se substituer en médecin.
Pendant 72 heures, les directeurs des écoles de formation, les professionnels sanitaires et tous les corps concernés tenteront d'apporter des réponses aux manquements observés dans le domaine de la santé au Cameroun.
Je crois que nous allons suivre les recommandations du ministre qui voudrait qu'on assainisse dans les écoles pour que lorsqu'on formera les élèves, que ce soit des élèves bien formés et que ça ne soit pas des ordures, que la santé soit vraiment, qu'on n'ait plus de problèmes qu'on rencontre dans les hôpitaux.
En ouverture des 10 travaux, 2 exposés étaient à l'ordre du jour. Tout d'abord, la révision des recommandations du gouvernement instituées par le ministère de tutelle afin de permettre à ces structures de fabriquer des hommes dignes et capables de bien exercer leur métier au Cameroun. Le deuxième, quant à lui, tourne autour de l'assainissement du caractère des diplômés candidats aux différents concours d'entrée dans ces écoles.
Le conseil de direction regroupe l'ensemble des écoles de formation publiques et privées et nous avons donc cette rencontre annuelle. Nous avons près d'une centaine d'écoles de formation et nous formons un peu plus de 4800 personnels de santé, toutes filières confondues par an. Donc une telle rencontre a l'occasion de faire le bilan de l'année écoulée et au cours de l'année écoulée, nous avons constaté des conditions très difficiles dans 2 régions, le sud-ouest et le nord-ouest.
Au sortir de ces travaux, plusieurs résolutions seront prises, dont la toute première mesure consistera à fournir des rapports d'activité annuels par chaque établissement afin de bénéficier de la subvention de l'État.
The government of Cameroon. Thanks very much, Thomas, for that wonderful report about the health meeting that was held yesterday by the health professionals. Viewers of 7 News Television, if you're just switched in on your television set, we are talking about mental health. Dr. Samuel Agwe, before we launched that report, was talking about the effects of drugs that most of our youths today consume. They take it for energy purposes without knowing the effects in their own lives. So, be very careful with what you take. It is not everything that you think gives you energy that is good for your health. If you're just tuning in, we are talking about how we can look for solutions on mental health. And Dr. Samuel Agwe, a mental health specialist, is in the best position to tell us about mental health. Dr. Agwe, we are talking about mental health. We are talking about the second stage or the types from depression to abuse of substances.
All right.
What other mental health do we have?
Thank you very much, Mr. Takan. The next one that I would like us to talk about is madness.
Madness.
Madness,
Okay.
what we call schizophrenia. The common person will understand that madness is a mental problem that is untreatable.
Untreated, yes.
Even if it were to be treated, it is not going to be treated in hospital. So the community or the society understands madness as a problem that has come from the spiritual point of view.
Yeah.
And therefore, it is no point taking somebody with madness to hospital.
Yeah.
Because how would you explain to me that somebody who is talking alone, somebody who is hearing voices, somebody who is seeing dead people, somebody who is talking with people that you cannot see, somebody who thinks that his own parents have poisoned his food, somebody who decides to go naked, how do you think that that person can be treated in a hospital? And you can understand where the society is coming from. So it is a perception that has been with us for a very long time. It's not just us, even in Europe. For some time, mental health was also associated with all sorts of things. But today, we now understand that it is actually caused by changes in some chemicals in the brain that we call neurotransmitter substances. And they have even identified some of those receptors, like dopamine and 5-HT and serotonin receptors. So they have not just ended at the neurotransmitters, they have actually identified those substances that cause madness, and they have identified medications that can go and treat that. And it's because of that breakthrough in medical technology or medical advancement that I can now proudly tell you that while I was in England, I treated about 10,000 persons with madness. In
10,000?
London, yes, 10,000, yes. In London, through Manchester and Edinburgh. And since coming to Cameroon, I have treated about 3,000.
Okay.
And I'm sure too that La Cantini and Jameau, they are also doing a great job there. So the message we want to pass to the community, to the society, is that if you have somebody who is mad, rush the person to hospital.
You were talking about madness. Normally, in the African society, they said if somebody starts getting mental, you don't let the person run to the market. So what has the mental situation got to do with the market?
I would want to think that it is in the market that he goes and naked himself or herself. And you can understand why they are rushing to the market. This person is seeing people that you are not seeing.
Okay.
We call them hallucinations. It's visual or auditory.
Okay.
So when you see objects that others are not seeing, or you see people that others are not seeing, it is visual. If you hear voices that others are not hearing, it is auditory. And so often the time these people are communicating with these voices, and the voices are actually instructing them on what to do.
Okay.
So sometimes they may even ask them to go naked or go eat from the beans. So they go to where there's a public gathering and they undress themselves. Some people even associate it to the time of the moon. They say that when the moon is right high up there, that is when the madness becomes maximum.
Yeah.
So there are all sorts of concepts.
That is what I don't understand. That when the moon is right high up there, the madness is
yes,
at the maximum.
That is it's
full moon.
Yes, full moon. That's what they call it.
So what has it got to do with madness?
To be honest, I've told you that if I have a way of researching that, I would like to do it, because surprisingly or unsurprisingly, there is some relationship. Some people actually, when that full moon is high, that's when they agitate most. So I don't know how that's related to. But medically, what we know is that mental illness is a medical problem that is treatable. It will be important that we know what are some of the causes of mental illness, of this schizophrenia, this madness that we talk about. It runs in families, which means that if there is a family member that has madness, the likelihood that other family members will have madness is more than double. That risk is double, because it's attached to the genes.
Okay.
It's attached to the genes of the family. So there's a family predisposition, which means it's a genetic predisposition to that. And so it is not even your fault that you are having, because you've simply just picked it from a member of the family. So there's nothing you can do about that. The other causes are actually causes that we can cause. Like we just talked about drugs, marijuana. I mean, 60 to 70% of people who have schizophrenia or madness consume drugs. So if you start taking marijuana, you may take a blow today, you may not pick it, but tomorrow you would. Another person may take marijuana, the first day he takes marijuana, he's off. He's on the street naked.
In Nigeria, they say he don't grow colo.
Yeah, it's off. So drugs is a common problem of schizophrenia.
Yeah.
And tramadol too is showing that it is having the same effect like marijuana and cocaine. So to the young people who are taking tramadol, they should know that if you are taking that thing, you risk going on the street naked. If not, you go to prison for all sorts of crime, fighting, and also a problem in society. The other thing that would cause madness is if you have a head injury.
Okay.
You have a road traffic accident and you hit your head, blood gets into the vessels of the brain or the spaces of the brain. They can actually interfere with those chemicals that rotate, that ensure the way that we function, because the way that God has created the human body is that There are small structures and chemicals that move between themselves and coordinate the way that we do things. So if you have a head injury or road traffic accident and you actually cause some of these structures to get destroyed, there is that likelihood that you can also develop
madness,
madness or schizophrenia illness. The other one, which is quite surprising that we are getting even more frequently, is pregnancy. You have a young woman who gets pregnant and just goes off.
How?
Or a woman who just gives birth and goes off. Yes, and does not want to see the child.
That's true.
Some even take the children and want to kill them.
Want to kill, yeah.
Yes. So that one we have associated that one to hormones. When you get pregnant, hormones are some chemicals in the body that regulate the way that the pregnancy is developed.
Yeah.
And so when the hormones start building up, the body feels or reflects that it is a threat, especially when it goes to the part of the brain which we call the hypothalamus. So that hypothalamus of the brain now sends signals to the pituitary gland and now to the various organs to say that this thing that is rising, it was not like this before. What has happened that the thing has gone up like this? Maybe there is a problem. It sends signals back to the brain now to tell the brain that there's trouble here, and then the person goes off. It's the same thing that when the woman gives birth and they remove the placenta. Placenta is actually the small house where all the blood vessels accommodate in the uterus as the child is growing. As they remove the placenta, the same hormones that had caused the brain to think that there's danger here suddenly drops within a very short period of time. It triggers again signals to the brain, which goes down to the systems that there is danger here, and the woman just goes off. And so what we want to say, especially to those in maternity sections and gynecologists and obstetricians, is that when they start having someone that is having this form of mental illness, we call it postnatal psychosis, postnatal blues, postnatal depression, they should try to see the psychiatrist so that they can put them on medications, and to remind them that when they want to get pregnant, subsequently, this will happen, so they should start getting their medications. The other one that we find quite often is some endocrine disorder. Endocrine system is also another set of chemicals in the body, and so we have some particular endocrine disorders that are associated with this mental illness. And amongst them we have acromegaly, Cushing's syndrome, Addison's disease, and Cohn's syndrome. Forget about the medical jargon. But there are some endocrine disorders that can also cause it. So this, to me, these are some of the main reasons why people have madness. Either it runs in the family, which you have nothing to do about it, or you are taking drugs, which you can do something about it. You don't have to take drugs. Or you run into a road traffic accident and you hurt your head. It's not your fault. You have these endocrine problems, or a woman who has just gone to give birth to a baby and runs into this. We think that it's important that we talk to the society, we sensitize the public so that they can know where to go when they have problems like this.
Okay, thank you, Doctor, for that excellent answer. Viewers of 7 News Television, I'm happy you guys are there watching this program, Experts. Let's have this second report made by a reporter of this wonderful television station. The government of Cameroon, after much neglect of the hospitals, especially those considered as reference ones, that became debt trap to the citizens, have decided to come out of the shame to rehabilitate them in order to give befitting names to the health services. The Yaoundé General Hospital on Friday witnessed the visit of the health minister to receive the already 2 pavilions available.
Today, here in the General Hospital for Yaoundé, I have the pleasure to announce that we pronounce the partial reception of external consultation on the ward consacred to the gastroenterology.
Most at times, this hospital, which goes without the basic necessity like scanners, oxygens, incubators, is being refurbished to meet the standards with priorities accorded to certain areas in the set environment.
We decide to place in priority the emergencies, external consultation, and gastroenterology and stomatology. We hope that next week we will start working in the sector of emergencies and pediatry. And I announce that for the few weeks we'll have the new pavilion concerning VIP hospitalizations and cardiology.
Rehabilitation work is progressively going on to ensure that the entire hospital looks attractive. Thank you very much for that wonderful report. Viewers of 7 News Television, we are talking about mental health. What solution? How is it manifested? How is it being treated? And even when it is treated, how do we help those who have been treated to come out from the stress or the stigma they have undergone? With us here today, we have a mental health specialist from Douala, known as Dr. Samuel Agwe, who is going to tell us more about the treatment of mental health at this point in time. Doctor, we are talking about solution to mental health.
That's right.
So you have given the course,
Okay.
the different type of mental health. Can you please tell us more now about the treatment of mental health?
Thank you very much. The treatment of mental health, I want to consider it as a holistic approach, which means that it involves the society, it involves the religious, it even involves the traditional practitioner, and it involves the medics. Why have I decided to use this public health approach to it? If I just tell you that if you have depression, you get antidepressants and you'll be fine. No, you're going back to society. And the triggers are still in the society and you need to meet them and the challenges there. So those tablets will not solve the problems for you. If you have madness and you've been treated, you go back, the stigma is still there. They may not want to employ you. They will say, oh, this was once a mad person. How can we get him back here? No. How do you get people treated when 70% of them are with traditional doctors, or with churches? So if you don't involve them, then you lose out on a lot of your people. How do you get people with mental health treated when we have just 2 hospitals, designated hospitals in Cameroon, La Cantine and Jamo? How does somebody from Marwa start coming down to get someone with mental health, and somebody is agitated, somebody that you tie? We change to live around Marwa 2 days or 3 days to get to Jamo. Or how does somebody from Kambe get to Douala in La Cantine? So practically it's difficult. So for me, the treatment approach is one that starts from the community and goes up. Centers like Jamo and La Cantine should actually be acting as a referral centers, where that is where the last hope should be. In the community, there's a lot of things that we can do. The first thing is to sensitize the community about mental health. Let people know that if you have someone who is mad or hearing voices, there is a medical solution to it. Let people know that mental illness is not a spiritual attack. You don't need to take them to the pastor. You don't need to take them to the churches. You don't need to take them to traditional doctors to get changed. We are not saying that pastors and religious don't have a role to play. They can provide that role of praying. They provide that spiritual support. They pray for the patient, but the treatment of these patients is in the hands of the medical doctors. And for most of us who think that it is a problem that is spiritual attack and they don't need to go to hospital, we are saying that you can have your patients treated and they will be rehabilitated. You did talk about getting people treated. We don't have rehabilitation centers. I think that some mild rehabilitation takes place in Jamo maybe, or La Cantine. The Presbyterian have one in Kumba. But we are beginning to train. What my organization is doing is we are training social mobilizers. Social mobilizers are people who go to the community and talk to people about mental health. When they talk to them about mental health, they sit down with them, identify the kind of mental health that they have, and they get them treated. Yeah. We also having community psychiatric nurses, which is a concept that I brought from UK, which are actually nurses that have been trained in community psychiatry. They go to the community, see patients that have been treated and stabilized, and they manage them in the community. They don't have to come to hospital. The ones that only come to hospital are those that are actually needing hospitalization. We are training traditional practitioners. We are working with traditional doctors to sensitize and educate them on mental health. And currently, we are working with priests. I was in the Catholic Church in Kusala in Kumba, with the priest there, Father Constantine, who actually identified the warden. The church warden was not well; it was schizophrenic, and would carry a bucket of water and pour on people, even on the priest. And he was treated in a hospital in Douala, and when he got well, we returned him back to the community. Yeah. So we want to work with people like this. And of course, we would treat in designated psychiatric centers. I would like to say that the current services that we have in our hospitals here needs a lot to desire. I don't want to say that we are going to have the standards in Britain. Yeah. But I mean, there are some basic services that we don't just get. Most of the patients that I have seen and that I'm treating in a center in Douala, Mines Polyclinic in Douala, in Anjera, we use the same medications that we use in England. I don't use haloperidol. I don't use chlorpromazine, which is Lagatil, because these medications have a lot of side effects. Okay. So I give to them second-generation antipsychotics, which are the same medications that I use in England, in Germany, and in America. And what is the benefit of that? One, the medication has fewer side effects, and it acts faster, which means that instead of waiting to treat the patient with haloperidol for 6 months or 3 months or so, I will give the person the second generation antipsychotics, or like risperidone or quetiapine, and within 3 weeks the patient is well. Okay. And the side effects of neck stiffness and salivation and all sorts of problems, we don't have that, because it is a side effect of medication that make a lot of patients not want to take medication.
Yeah, that's true.
So what I want to advocate here, going through the rounds to the ministry, is let us try and get the services of European standards if we can, especially the medications. And they are not too expensive. I mean, what is the cost of not treating somebody with madness? It costs millions. But with a proper treatment and rehabilitation of 500,000, somebody is treated. The person goes back home and contributes to society and gets married and moves on with his life or her life.
Can you give us an example of anybody who has been in the street for 1, 2, 3 to 8 years that you treated?
Of course, it's just that I don't know whether I gave you the videos of this young man called Mr. Ntem. Okay. Ntem was a university student. He was a university student who was actually a math student who started taking marijuana. And after taking 3-4 shots of marijuana, he went mad. Was abandoned by family because they thought that he had entered society and wanted to kill the family. Yes.
Yeah, it's that
was the University of Boya there. So the family drove him from their house, and he was actually living on the streets of Boya, Mile 17. I mean, this is a case that many people know. You will hardly enter Boya without knowing this young man who blocked the street trying to beg for money. A young, handsome, nice-looking man. So after many years of antagonistic living on the streets in Boya with other people, we were having a coordination meeting in Mundemba, and we presented this case. And the doctors in the Southwest decided to contribute money for this young man to be removed from the streets and treated. We came, we took the ambulance, took this young man, got him treated, and returned him to his family. Yes. And I am sure that he is about to get married or so next month. This is somebody who has been on the streets for 9 years.
9 good years.
9 good years. They have accused him of doing all sorts of things, being a witch, it's nothing that this young man has not had as a name.
Yeah.
And when he even returned to the park in Mile 17 in Boya there, people were amazed. Some people were running away because they could not believe that it is that young man who was there with them. And how did this even come about? 2 university students were going to Mosango to send a parcel. And as they crossed, they went deposited the parcel with Mosango. The parcel was for Yaoundé. And as they were coming back, this young man was hungry, so he wanted to go beg money from them. But because he was so frightful, the girls ran into the road without looking and were crushed down. And it caused a lot of pain for people around them.
Yeah.
So that was where this awareness came up. And ever since, we have removed 6 persons. My organization has removed 6 persons from the street and have treated. So we intend to continue to do this. If we have the funding, we will be able to remove as many persons from the streets. There is nobody who is on the streets of Cameroon with mental illness that cannot be treated. All that we need is the small resources and the support to put our hands together and get them treated.
Okay, doctor, you talked something about alcohol.
That's right.
In the cause of mental health. Let's just follow this report. Viewers of 7 News Television, let's follow this report made by Agrippine Ferge about beer or alcohol.
Vase brisé, casseroles et liquides à même le sol, témoins vivants des derniers événements survenus en ces lieux. Ici, c'est le coin de vente du Bil du quartier Kamkaro dans la ville de Garoua, qui attire tous les jours les amoureux de cette boisson alcoolisée faite à base de maïs, boisson très prisée dans cette partie du Cameroun. Cette jeune dame au visage larmoyant aura perdu toute sa marchandise comme toutes ces autres ici présentes. Désolation et consternation pour cette foule et ces commerçantes qui voient leur gagne-pain partir en fumée.
Maintenant, là, le sous-préfet nous a mis dans de grands problèmes. D'où on est là? Il y a les femmes qui n'ont pas de mari, les veuves, les femmes que le mari les a chassées du foyer. On se débrouille grâce à nos enfants, grâce au Bible, on prépare le vin pour élever nos enfants. On paye l'école. Maintenant, le sous-préfet est venu semer un grand désordre ici.
Tout serait parti du décès d'une fillette tombée dans un vase bouillonnant contenant cette boisson. Conduite à l'hôpital, elle succombera de ses blessures 3 jours plus tard. Situation qui aura conduit à la descente du sous-préfet de cet arrondissement en compagnie des éléments de la gendarmerie sur les lieux du drame et ainsi de procéder à des casses.
J'ai été informé par quelqu'un qu'un enfant serait décédé dans des circonstances particulières dans le secteur de Kankaro. Et cet enfant serait été tombé dans une cuve de bilibili, pratiquement chauffée à près de 100 degrés, et a été brûlé, malgré qu'on l'ait repêché très rapidement, a été brûlé à au niveau de 3 degrés. Donc on n'a pas pu le sauver, l'enfant est décédé. Le propriétaire du cabaret et la dame qui a prêté dans ce bilibili ont dissimulé ce décès.
Les récents événements tragiques autour de ces boissons alcooliques traditionnelles semblent ne pas freiner l'ardeur des populations. Après l'odontol, c'est au tour du Bilbili d'animer les chaumières.
Thank you very much, Agrippine, for that report. As Dr. Riley said, the consumption of alcoholic drinks can lead to mental illnesses that many people neglect. Viewers of 7 News Television, we are gradually coming to the end of this program. But before we draw the curtain to the close, we would like us to meet Dr. Samuel Agwe, who knows much about mental health. So, doctor, many have patients who are mentally deranged. Many themselves know they are mentally deranged, though they cannot really come out plainly that they are having mental problems.
That's right.
So how are we going to do in order to meet specialists like you? What are we supposed to do?
All right, thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity for you giving me to come over here. It's a wonderful thing to sensitize the public. I think that those listening to me, they can get my numbers directly from the studio here.
Okay.
But those who have a pen can have 679-831366. 679-831366. For those who are around Douala, you can visit me at a hospital, Mines Polyclinic, which is at Foyer Bamangum, which is behind a SEC at Angie Raphael. So you can contact us directly with my telephone number, or you pass through the studio here. But you can also come to Douala at Mines Polyclinic, which is at Foyer Bamangum. For those who are in the Southwest, you can check on me at the Regional Delegation for Public Health, which is where my office is. But consultations also take place at the Regional Hospital Limbe on Mondays and the District Hospital in Kumba on Wednesdays. So it's important that if you have someone who is not well and you want to solicit my advice, we will try to run some addresses through the news bar with 7 News so that you can get to them. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Doctor.
You're welcome.
Thank you, viewers of 7 News Television. We have come to the end of this program, Experts. But I must tell you, the progress or the success of this program is not thanks to the presenter Takang Bisong, but we have many other people behind that you don't see. You have the one who is controlling the buttons. He is gay. You have Masha Kwakam and Sej Biwole as the cameramen. You have Otans Obono, Terin Jamba, and the other guy, Roland Amana. I love you all. Keep watching 7 News Television. Experts every Tuesday and Thursdays is for your Queen's language, while Monday, Wednesdays and Fridays is for the French language. Don't go away. Keep watching 7 News. Thanks for watching.